Welcome to the Law of Attraction Epilogue series, episode 1. My Law of Attraction series I initially put together was sort of meant to be a beginner's course, an introductory course, something that anybody could sort of watch and follow along with. But for those of us who are deeper practitioners, more experienced in the spiritual journey and want to sort of dive deeper into the metaphysical, existential questions, I've put together this Epilogue series for those of us who are interested in that. So you can consider the original Law of Attraction series more of a grade school level of education, and this is going to be more of a grad school level of education. So what I want to talk to you about today is the power of intention or desire. Now, the Law of Attraction, in its simplest definition, is you desiring to experience yourself. Or you could say, the universe desiring to experience itself. Now, the universe is infinite. It goes on forever and ever. All possibilities are contained inside of it. And the universe, or consciousness, has true free agency, true free will. Now, what free agency ultimately means is the ability to desire anything that you want to desire. And consciousness has this ability because all possible realities are contained inside of it. So it has no limitations. It can do whatever it wants and it can experience whatever it wants. But again, there are literally infinite amounts of possibilities, trillions and trillions towards infinity of possible experiences consciousness can have. So the question is, how does consciousness go about selecting one of these possibilities? How can it possibly be that specific to go about selecting one in infinity? What does it use to select what it experiences? And quantum mechanics has the secret for us. If we look at quantum mechanics, we understand the law of attraction much better, because the law of attraction doesn't happen on the Newtonian level, it happens at the quantum level. Because consciousness, or the universe, is always reading the most initial movement of your consciousness. It's always reading the very first action, you could say. So if we look at the observer effect, which I talked about at length in episode 2, time doesn't exist, we understand that particles exist in wave-particle duality in two states at the same time, as waves or as individual particles. And now quantum mechanics has discovered that particles actually are not particles. They are actually fluid-like substances. And so when a particle is not being observed, says quantum physics, then it is not taking any particular position. Because again, from the perspective of the universe, which is infinite, all points of view are equally valid. The universe does not judge. God does not judge. He allows you free agency to experience anything you want. But if it wants to experience something, it has to take some kind of action to select what experience it attracts to itself. So in quantum mechanics, it says the observation does that. But this is a subtle flaw on the part of scientists who are not investigating scrupulously enough into the metaphysical nature of consciousness. What comes prior to an action? Because observation is an action, right? What could possibly come before an action? And the answer is intention, desire. You have to desire to take an action before you take an action. So if you don't want to look at the particle, if you truly don't desire to look at the particle, then you aren't going to look at it. It's really that simple. And so this is the big hang up in law of attraction, is that people think the universe is reading your thoughts. They think it's reading your words. They think it's reading your actions. And in a sense it is, but it's actually reading the most subtle and original movement of consciousness behind all of the actions, thoughts, and words, which is the desire. Every action you take is a form of desire, because you have to have a desire to do something before you do it. And so it's not reading your Instagram posts. You can put out whatever image to the world that you want, but if there's any authenticity in you, if any amount of you is still flirting with low vibrational ego bullshit, the universe is going to see that. And so I like to call it McDonald's. If any part of you is still eating McDonald's on the side, the universe is still going to see that McDonald's, even though Instagram doesn't see it, your captions don't reflect it, maybe even your conversations with your closest friends don't reflect it. Doesn't matter to the universe. The universe sees everything, and it never commits an injustice. It always serves you exactly what you are vibrating with. And whatever you are desiring is what you're vibrating. And every action you take is a reflection, is showing you what your desires are. So the observer effect in quantum physics is actually not the observer effect. It is actually the desire effect. Consciousness reads the movement of desire, because desire is, again, the original movement of consciousness. It is the original movement of free agency. Before you do anything, you first work up the desire to do it, and then you manifest it and you do it. So the universe is just a mirror. It's just a reflection of you. So it's always giving you precisely what you are emitting. So if you imagine consciousness as the surface of a lake, when you are neutral, when you are not moving or desiring anything, the surface is smooth, it's flat, crystal clear, like a mirror. And every action you take or every desire you work up is like throwing a pebble into the lake. And this creates a ripple effect in the lake, or a vibration. And that is what the universe sees. And so if there's any amount of McDonald's in your diet, so to speak, it's going to give you all the positive stuff you're vibrating with as well, of course, but it's going to give you an equal amount of the amount of McDonald's in your passenger seat. So the universe doesn't see your selfie saying, I'm so enlightened, I'm so awake, I'm so free. It sees the McDonald's sitting in the passenger seat in the back. Other people might not see it. Maybe even you don't see it. Maybe even you don't recognize your own inner baggage, but it's there. And so you have to start investigating and start interrogating your inner state of consciousness, because what you see out there is a perfect mirror to what is in here. You always see what you are. So if there's no amount of insecurity or jealousy inside of you, for example, then you will not experience any insecurity or jealousy in your life. But if you're still vulnerable to the ego and you're still falling prey to its traps, then the universe is going to reflect that to you, and it's going to show you that. And so actually, in that sense, the universe is on your side. It's really trying to help you out, and it's always showing you exactly what your state of consciousness is. It's that perfect mirror. And so if there is any insecurity in your experience, that's because it's in you. It's not out there coming into you. It's always in you being reflected out there. So, whatever Susie said to you, I can't believe she said that to me, boo-hoo, poor me. Well, you have adopted a position based on your desire that the universe will keep reflecting back to you. So you have condensed consciousness into one particle, one experience, which is insecurity, whatever. And so you've created a feedback loop, because now you're taking your cues from the reflection you're seeing. You're looking in the mirror at yourself, being boo-hoo, poor me, and you keep acting more boo-hoo, poor me. And this is what we call the law of attraction. And it's really the law of reflection. It is a reflection of you, of your internal state of consciousness. So once you really understand this and you really start to viscerally see it and experience it in your life, law of attraction becomes simple. There's only one law in the whole universe, and it's the law of attraction. Whether you're chasing enlightenment, liberation, awakening, whether you're chasing money, fame, fortune, whatever it is, you have to attract it based on these rules. You have to be authentic, you have to be genuine, and you have to be pure. And if there's any contaminants on the surface of your lake, of your consciousness, the universe sees that. There is no hiding from the law of attraction. It is always fair and it is always just. And so, how do we collapse the superposition of consciousness from all possible realities into one? Very simple. Whatever you desire. So that's why I talk a lot about passion, because passion is an extreme form of desire. And so I didn't even go into this stuff in the original series, because if I just tell you to get really passionate about what you want, that's all you need. The extreme form of desire is there, and the universe will reflect it back to you and start manifesting it in equal proportion to your passion. So that really is the secret. That really is the key. Become passionate, because it's not observation that collapses the superposition. Desire collapses the superposition.